For the final request of January, let's take things back to Christmas just for a moment to discuss Deathcember. This is an anthology film that was produced in Germany. It was crowdfunded through Kickstarter, and it features 24 individual short films from all over the world. I'm still new to anthology films, I haven't seen too many myself, but I know it's very important within the horror genre. 24 is quite a few for just one anthology film, but it's meant to be an advent calendar, so in a way, you could watch at least one horror short every day until Christmas. If you want to do that for December of 2021, give it a go. I think it could be fun. But right now, I'm still a little bit in the Christmas spirit. Let's experience Deathcember. The disadvantage of properly reviewing an anthology film is that it becomes a rundown of every individual short, which ones are good and which ones are not as good. To judge the effectiveness of the movie as a whole certainly comes down to if each separate short works, but there's always one or two that stick out, and no one is ever happy with every single short. In this case, there's 24 to pick from, so the chances that they're all going to be great is minimal. In fact, this uncut Blu-ray has 2 additional stories, so try analyzing that. Simply put, it's easier to go one by one, but I'll acknowledge right away, this project stayed focused on the theme of Christmas. It has a good variety of styles and languages, and it even toyed with other genres beyond horror. My only criticism as a whole would be that a few of them become a bit too similar to other popular scary movies. In fact, some of the shorts within this movie are similar to some of the other shorts. And some of them use a Santa character way too many times. Not that I'm surprised Santa makes appearances throughout, but I figured they'd maybe go after other December holidays, traditions, or icons. Then again, I'm not sure if every director was keeping in touch with the other productions. Each feels different enough to at least come across as a genuine anthology, mixing different visual perspectives. A Door Too Far sets up the Advent calendar theme by having a child maliciously eating the chocolate from the calendar, which leads to his own demise. Nothing too fancy, but it's a start. All Sales Fatal is a very cheesy scene where a mother, who doesn't have the receipt, can't return a toy purchase to the store, so she starts beating up the clerk, and he starts fighting back. There's massive amounts of blood and violence. It's really random, but I love when fighting scenes go this unrealistic. It creates a really good comedic effect. Aurora is a pretty weird one, showing a futuristic world celebration of Christmas, but everything is so disconnected from current humanity, you're left with an empty feeling. It has an interesting idea of what the future Earth could look like. This is by far the most atmospheric of the group, off-putting in a very real way. Xmas on Fire is a perfect little story told in a few minutes. A group, similar to the criminals in Reservoir Dogs, plan a robbery that doesn't end well. It's not much to work with, but with the very short runtime, I'm fascinated by its use of time and how things are told non-chronologically with different perspectives. It creates a lot from nothing. Really fast-paced and works on nearly every level. Villancicos is the funniest one of all. This family learns that in order for their child to stay alive, this choir needs to keep singing. Every time they stop, the kid dies again, but he's brought back to life once the choir continues. It's such a goofy concept, but they run with it. It tells the situation visually and becomes unsettling in a humorous way. Things have started out good, but they get bumpy after the initial ones. Joy to the Girls has a man get randomly invited to a party, only to be murdered by these 3 girls. I guess this was only made for the final joke, because their card states that the guest should be punctual, you must be right on time. And I guess they schedule more than one murder a day because the next guy comes too early and sees the women sucking on the last guy's blood. The Hunchback of Berg Hain is worth it for the silent film look alone. The set design and makeup look like the 1920s, obviously paying tribute to Universal's adaptation of The Hunchback of Notre Dame. Except this time, they free the monster. Kinda. It's visually pleasing, even if the twist is way overdone. Family Matters has nothing to do with the Winslows, but it's about this family who inducts their daughter's boyfriend into their family by implanting him with some kind of organism similar to Ridley Scott's Alien. Unfortunately, there's not a lot to bite on here. I'm not sure what it has to do with Christmas, but then again, the last couple I discussed had very loose connections. I guess they all take place during Christmas, similar to how Die Hard or Iron Man 3 take place during Christmas. Crappy Christmas, Operation Christmas Child would probably be my favorite of the bunch. It's claymation, it parodies classic Christmas specials and advertisements, but it goes so dark and shocking. I can have a sick sense of humor, and this almost 100% works with me, but I think it goes too far. I'm not sure how many people would even be able to view this one, so honestly, I'm not going to say much more. I'm warning you. It's the darkest of the bunch. Five Deaths in Blood Red tries to do what a lot of 70s old dark house gore films did, but besides the sound design and color scheme, I'm not sure how to get a grasp on this one. Another family gathering with psychopaths. Okay. Kill Santa is what the title suggests. Yeah, there's a bit more to it involving the lead's father, but it didn't do much for me. Bad Santa has a twisted father dress up as Krampus to scare his children at night to disastrous results. It's a little too obvious with its finale, but I appreciate that the family is genuinely nice, so the disaster becomes more emotional since they're not bad people, which is somewhat different from the other shorts that usually have somewhat evil families. Santa is Coming pays homage to 80s American horror and has a bit of a Twilight Zone-like story, but I'm not sure if it all pans out in the end. It's creepy, but it doesn't have enough time to flesh out its ideas. This is one that maybe would have been better to keep in a longer film. A Christmas Miracle has the look and feel of something released on TV in the 90s. It has good-looking cinematography, with a pretty spooky and supernatural ending, but it comes across as a prologue for a bigger story, which we don't get. Caseta Sperduta in Campania has an incredibly stupid family play a prank on another family member, acting as though they were murdered by the mother covering themselves in fake blood. So that's how they're tricking the other family member, but this only leads to that same family member committing suicide in emotional response. So it's a joke gone wrong. You know, this is a really dumb group of people. Milk and Cookies features a kid making wishes to Santa to help handle his abusive father. Someone's answering the call, and is it Santa? Is he real? Or is this some random unnamed hero? Who knows, but you can guess early on where things are headed. I like the use of lighting during the nighttime scenes. Pig is a rape revenge thriller set during Christmas, featuring a group of women who take down their previous attackers. The music here is techno and exhilarating. The twist ending is startling. I'm not entirely sure how I felt about it as a whole, but people could have actual discourse about this one. They Once Had Horses looks exactly like something from the late 1940s. I got a Treasure of the Sierra Madre vibe. It's a snippet of a larger story, but it effectively portrays the monster without ever showing it on the screen. This is a good exercise in utilizing a very minimal budget. December the 19th has two women go skating, only for them to accidentally cause several bloody catastrophes because apparently their skates have the sharpest blades in the history of the sport. I know this is meant to be somewhat funny, but I can't stand when movies decide that skate blades can cut through anything like samurai blades. Getting Away from It All has a guy taking a trip to a cabin, only to get harassed by this unwanted group of carolers, and it gets gory. Nothing special, but it's creepy. Family Feast is relatable. It's an awkward family Christmas where people ask all the wrong questions to a woman whose life isn't in order at the moment. There's some implications about her uncle, and she starts hallucinating, leading to a murder. Seems like a lot of these have murderers that can only be summarized as, yep, they're crazy. Before Sundown reminds me of 80s movies when kids would go hang out in the suburbs fighting off some alien or monster, which is what happens here. Not really much of a story, but it looks good. Nearing the finale, we have one called Cracker, which contains 1950s aesthetics and references, all of which takes place in some dystopian future where this kind of stuff never went out of style. This probably has the most intricate set design of the bunch, and has the funniest moment of Deathcember as a whole. I don't want to spoil it. Even if you don't watch the entire anthology, at least try to check out Cracker. Then there's the final one, taking place in the southern USA. This wild guy tries to find the leader of a drug cartel, and in the process kills an entire family. He's insane, and the whole look reminds me of Breaking Bad. It's a Breaking Bad Christmas, in a way. This Blu-ray also contains 2 additional shorts during the credits, including Christmas Corpse, an office horror story with a work file causing people to be possessed. And They Used to Laugh and Call Him Names, which features an extremely demented version of a reindeer who goes on a rampage. Even with the huge amount of shorts, I can understand why these ones were saved for the credits instead. So, there you have it. 24 Days of Christmas, 26 shorts in total, and honestly, there's a few too many that went for the slasher variety rather than the atmospheric or supernatural. I think I would have appreciated a few more ghost stories or creepy house stories or possessions, but a lot of the stories focused on someone who's crazy and starts murdering others, and usually there's no explanation. I guess it doesn't need to be explained, but usually a feature-length film leaves room for a lot more to discuss. But since these are shorts, there's not much to dive into. I think it's really cool that a project like this was created, but anthologies always have the baggage of inclusions that don't turn out as great, so it diminishes the entire production. There's a couple I like just for the overall tone and look, while others I have no wish to really see again. But if you only want to check out the best ones, I'd recommend Xmas on Fire, Villancicos, The Hunchback of Berg Hain, Pig, Cracker, and with an extremely cautionary warning, the claymation Crappy Christmas. Once we can all be together again, I think an anthology film like this would best be watched at a Christmas party where everyone's drinking, having a good time, and we could all just laugh at 24 or 26 different shorts. This was crowdfunded through Kickstarter, and the Patreon member who requested this review happened to be a backer on the production, which is a good time to mention to people, support indie work, and if you can, go to Indiegogo or Kickstarter to support other indie productions and movies and other things that people are doing in the arts. Thanks for watching, everyone. I'm looking forward to the rest of the year in reviews, and hey, maybe this will be my advent calendar for Christmas. I might skip a few, but we'll see. Special thanks to Anthony for this Patreon request. Thanks for watching the video, and special shout out to Anthony, Anna, Kirsten, Lucas, Ryan, and Robert for the support on Patreon. By joining my Patreon, you can get exclusive videos and blogs, and for only $7, you can request your own movie review. I hope you stick around, cinephile, and have a happy, productive day.